absolutely right. The picture is looking good. The big picture looks good for SKT as they lock in that first seed, moving towards the knockout stage. For G2, though, in a game that actually, in those opening minutes, looked to be going very well, especially if we put a spotlight on that mid lane, all of it fell apart within that 10 to 15 minute mark, and we saw the classic SKT kind of just stranglehold onto the game and run away with it.
Yeah, 100%. The first 7 minutes, I'll say 8 minutes, 8.5 minutes looked great for G2. You know, you look at the composition, you maybe start theorizing late game, maybe it goes a little bit wonky because of the twitch, but this is kind of where things started to go sideways. Oh,
Yeah,
excuse me, no, this still looks good.
It started out well with Perks getting initial CS lead over Faker, then he forced Faker on a base, and then Faker answered with an immediate ulti. Perks replied, he gets like a jungle attention, he gets Galio ulti here, so it looked like Perks was definitely in this element, and even later in the game started playing well. But honestly, this was the crucial phase of the game where it turned around.
Yeah, I mean, for G2, it just felt like to me, like their first fight around mid lane when Perk was already way ahead was just not necessary. The SKT bot lane had the shove, was going to respond first, and you know, they didn't need to go for as much of a commitment as they did.
Yeah, and then it just collapses all on mid lane because it makes sense. SKT want to hit them there because they don't have the TP anymore. It was Huni who teleported into that fight into the river, so they don't want to compete with the Shin teleport down bottom, and so they just throw over and over Peanut and Faker time and time again into that mid.
And then we have to talk about what our expectations were coming into the day. G2 was on the books they were going to lose anyways. It's only the manner in which they lost that was important to see maybe how it spells out what's going to happen in the rest of the day. So for me, I'm actually not too fussed with this result because Perks was playing out of his mind. He's going up against Bjergsen later. If you play against TSM, the one man you have to keep down at all times is Bjergsen. And there will be less pressure, hopefully, for Europe, that is, onto the jungle because Trick, you know, playing versus Svenskern or Trick playing versus Peanut Faker is still a little bit different.
Of course, it's massively different, but you do have to be a little bit concerned that it was a 6v4 because Trick was playing for the other team this time. I mean, he like single-handedly lost this game, it felt like. And I was super disappointed in his play, like consistently choosing a fight that he didn't need to. You know, not only just choosing poor fights, but then mechanical misplays within the fights consistently. And it was really kind of frustrating for me to watch because Perks is playing so damn well, and you want to see him rewarded for that. But it felt like every time Perks does something amazing and, you know, they get a little edge from that, Trick is going to do something even worse that just gives that away. Yeah, even the bot lane was taking some poor trades on the all-ins. It felt like after the initial fight where G2, they had a minor lead, they said, you know what, we'll put all the chips in the pot, let's go all in. They lost out and they were pretty, for me, tilted afterwards.
Yes and no, though, right? Because we did show that replay where they go for the fight in the river, but we don't see all the summoner spells blown. For example, Sven, right, coming in with the Kennen ultimate, decides to hold his flash till after his ultimate is down, as opposed to just capitalizing on top of the twitch, zeroing someone out. As well, Perks, with that chase of Ahri down that river, didn't blow his ultimate for the kill, and you see some of those mechanical decisions bite them then once the Galio comes flying in.
I don't know necessarily, yeah, 100% like there were some mechanical missteps there, but when I watch G2, I don't hone in on like mechanical mistakes. It's kind of like miscommunication. Like sometimes they're just not all on the same page about what they want to do.
That has been their flaw in Europe. They're really good against opponents that they've analyzed. Like if you scream a team all the time, they know how to react, they know all the basic situations, and they know how to play the playbook that they've written. The problem is when things rapidly change or teams play just a little bit better, G2 do not adapt well on the fly, and it's very apparent in Baron situations usually.
And to me, that's a problem. If you can't actually just analyze,
that's a problem as well.
You know, it's like, great, okay, you can beat teams if you scrim them all the time, all year long. Why can you not learn that from VOD review, from watching these games, from analyzing all these games that you're seeing against these teams? And you know, if you're saying you don't have enough information on SKT, then there's something going on.
Yeah, there's plenty of games of evidence about how they play. But more to your point, Krepo, about G2 looking towards TSM, I want to take a look at one more replay. This is actually a one fight for G2 in the top lane, 4-for-1.
Yeah, and this is just, for me, at least, while they're down, we still get a display of skill for Perks, and is what the Europeans like to call cocky movement. You know, he goes into the fights. Perks has a habit of juking forward. He's consistently been dodging axes. Later on, I think he'll dodge a charm in this fight, and he's been a large presence even while G2 was down in these team fights, and that bodes well for the match later on.
You do have to say, though, Bang, he's on a little road trip here. I don't know what he's doing.
Surprise.
Going in the back line, 1v3, doesn't use either summoners before dying.
Right here. Oh, yeah. So, like, Sai says both, gets a kill, he chases Faker down. Let's forget the little mishap that Bang had. Sometimes you need a little help.
I love that we're both looking at different parts of this replay. Azale's like, what is happening in the back half? You're just like, Perks, no, yes.
Yeah.
Right, but
I mean, Perks was great.
But I think that's where, again, as we say, coming into the day, the assumption was G2 drops the game here. All eyes are on that TSM versus G2 matchup. And again, to your point, all right, you push Peanut on to his 4th, 5th, 6th champion. The guy still goes crazy and massacres your team. You're probably not going to have the same performance out of Svenskeren. We'll see. We've seen some pretty highlight plays out of him in the past, but at this tournament specifically, hot and cold, as has been mentioned before. We do have to step away for a quick break, but when we return, TSM and the Flash Wolves take to the stage for Game 2.
Getting low as Sven tries to chase him out, expect, gets a kill back for Trick, does go down to Galio. Here comes Trick back, I think a little too far forward, does go down to Trick, now Fang is dead as well, G2! Finding some kills, SK2's aggression will cost him Peanut, turns to fight, but he's dead also.
But so much of it will depend on the individual.
If Perks had also, that would have been sick, but he tied instead to Faker. Just dashes forward. I was smelling a play there for Perks, but not a mind reader. Next is exposed at SKT.